Welcome back, motherfuckers. And this right here, this will be a different kind of video. I've been meaning to make this for a while, but just hadn't found the time to with college and work. But thankfully I'm able to finally sit down and make it. Now, what you're gonna hear is an interview that I actually conducted with my former store manager at my daily job. Well, weekly job, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was part of a college project that I had to do, and I really wanted to get the whole interview and put it into one video just so I can upload it. And I hadn't been able to do that till now. So like I said, what you're gonna hear is the interview. What you'll see is just, a bunch of maybe a clip or so of me and my buddy Spiky Assassin over there playing the new Uncharted 4 survival missions, as we're doing here in this intro. So yeah. Also, pretty soon I'm gonna want to start doing commentary videos. That's this is something else I've always wanted to do. Have just me talking shit about whatever, and just having gameplay playing in the background. The kind. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy the video. Interview's about 28 minutes long, so pretty long video if I do say so myself. So yeah, till next time. This is it for now.
My name is Doyle Rodriguez. I'm sitting here today with my current store manager, Evan Stair. Now, Evan, I know we had a bit of a slow day today, so can you bear with me as I ask you some of these questions here?
Yeah.
All right, man. So, real quick, can you tell me about your hometown in comparison to your current home here in New Jersey?
It is entirely different. West Virginia is a mountain state, so the entire state is really spread out. Lots of small, relatively poor areas and neighborhoods. Jersey is packed tight with people. It was a little overwhelming when I first got here because there's just people everywhere. I lived in the capital city of West Virginia, and it's probably smaller than Cherry Hill is. So just population, ground, everything. It's a totally different world. Even people's temperaments. People here are really fast-paced. People in West Virginia are slow and laid back, and so totally different world.
Yeah, so speaking about the capital city, I found out that Charleston is actually a bit of a hotspot for coal mining. Do you remember it being as big of a deal while you were down there?
I do. Coal mining in the state is actually huge, so pretty much anywhere you go, coal mining is huge, because years and years ago, the state was essentially bought out by big coal. So anybody that doesn't get a college education or do any kind of separate career, they essentially get shoved into coal mining. And it sounds kind of like you're going back in time, but the whole state's kind of back in time. And that's what people grow up and aspire to do, is work at the coal mines. And it's actually been kind of big news lately and kind of bad for the state, because coal mining jobs are getting taken away because they're shutting down coal mines because they're bad for the planet, and they're finding alternative sources of energy, and thereby stripping jobs away from a lot of people in the state of West Virginia. So this affects all kinds of stuff. I work retail, so it affected a big chunk of my customer base because they couldn't buy stuff anymore, so it hurt my business. It's led to a lot of drug problems across the state. A lot of people are turning to pills and heroin and stuff because they're depressed and they're out of work and they just don't know what to do, I suppose, so they're turning to drugs, and it's becoming just pretty bad across the entire state. So yeah, coal mining's big. A lot of people would like it to come back. I don't know if it will, but it's definitely huge.
Now, I was actually going to ask if you knew anyone who did work the mines, if at all.
I don't know that I know anybody personally, but anybody who lives in West Virginia knows somebody that has something to do with mining. I know one of my best friend's brothers worked in the mine for a long time. I don't know that I know anybody directly, but it's impossible. If you know Jeff's brother's cousin worked in the mines, I mean, somebody's always related to the coal mines in some way.
Can you tell me a little bit about some of the schools you might have attended?
I actually attended, we'll just go with colleges. I attended 2 different colleges. My first 2 years I went to Glenville State College, which is in Glenville, West Virginia, which is probably what I would consider the good part of West Virginia. It's the middle of nowhere. It's really natural. There's one stoplight in the entire city of Glenville. And they refuse to let an interstate go through it. So in order to get to Glenville, you have to drive like 50 miles down a back road. It takes a really long time. It's really dangerous in the snow. But they refuse to let their town be changed by even just something as simple as an interstate. I went to that school mostly just because it was cheap and I knocked out my undergraduate classes. And then I transferred to University of Charleston, which is the capital city. And it's what I consider the bad part of West Virginia. It's the capital city and it's really run down. It loses its population by thousands every year because people are moving out because there's no work. Drug problems are high, so I liked the school. It was probably a better school to go to because it was in a more urban area with a higher population and probably better professors. But the city itself is a much worse environment. I really prefer the natural side of West Virginia. Charleston's kind of, it used to be beautiful, but just, 50 years ago, it was beautiful. Present day Charleston is just kind of run down.
And then before we move on, is there anything else you'd like to add about West Virginia?
Well, I love it. When I think of West Virginia, I don't think about Charleston, run down city life. I think about whitewater rafting and skydiving and all the natural, beautiful things you can do in the state. The rundown, dirty side of Charleston inspired me to make a documentary where I actually went into the streets for a period of about 6 months. Any free time me and my friends got, we'd just walk around Charleston, West Virginia, and we would interview homeless people about their lives and about their families. And sadly, I was inspired to do that just because there's so many of them in Charleston. People that live the streets by choice because of drugs, and people that live the streets against their will just because they can't find work. And so they're just all over the place. So they're easy to find, and it kind of inspired me to make my first ever documentary.
Yeah, now I was gonna ask you about making videos, but before we get to that, about a year ago, when you hired me, you were telling some of us a story about how you were invited on to some show after there was a video of you setting yourself on fire.
Right.
Yeah, can you retell that story real quick?
I can. So, when I started making films, I was in college. And so before I made valuable films like the documentaries that I make now, I was raised at a time when the TV show Jackass was huge. And so these guys were like my heroes. And I was a stupid college kid, and that's who I wanted to be, because they seemed cool. And so I mimicked them, and I made Jackass-esque videos, I guess. So we do all kinds of stunt videos, like we did a whole bunch of 3-man slingshot videos where we would stand shirtless in the snow and smack each other with a 3-man slingshot with snowballs. We did that with tennis balls. We did it with, oh my gosh, footballs. We did it with all kinds of horrible stuff for our bodies. Stuff like that. So it was bound to eventually take a turn for the worse, no matter what. And eventually it did. We were doing a video that involved a race and fire, and through several different shots and several different takes, we got too much lighter fluid and we had an accident. Yeah, it sounds stupid. At the time it seemed smart. We thought people would think we were cool. And so I got the worst of it, and I got caught on fire and had 3rd-degree and 2nd-degree burns all over my legs. The back of my right leg has actually got a skin graft, so it kind of looks like Freddy Krueger on the back of my leg. And I was in a burn unit for 3 months. I couldn't walk for many months. It was horrible. And so we were doing part of this in partnership with a company based out of California, which is another reason why we thought we were cool. even though they're not even a company anymore. They were pretty much nobodies. And they had us all set up to get on Dr. Phil. And the morning of the flight, it was all booked. We've been talking to producers and everything. The morning of the flight, they decided that they were going to cancel the show. So I got a phone call. At the time, I was let down. Now I'm happy, and I think it happened all for a reason, because it'd be pretty embarrassing to be on national television for that. Getting made fun of, essentially, by Dr. Phil and many other people. So at the time, it was kind of a letdown, but I'm glad it didn't happen. And really, you know, I kind of grew out of the whole Jackass videos phase, and I'm glad for it. I don't necessarily regret it, but there's a certain age for things, and I think that time has passed, for sure.
Now, you may have given up on making the Jackass-esque videos, but you do still make videos these days under your All1 Productions. You make a series on YouTube called Super Awesome. Can you elaborate on what your motivation was to start making the Super Awesome series?
Yes, I can. Well, it started with the homeless documentary, and I didn't really know what I was doing. It just was an idea I had, and I wanted to see where it went. And it's got a lot of views immediately on YouTube, and more than anything, it got a good reception where people were acting as if I had done something positive for the world, and that felt good. It was a feeling I had never had with any of the Jackass videos, and it kind of felt like my purpose with video was to do this good stuff. And so I had the idea for Super Awesome, where I was going to find awesome people, interview them, and highlight their lives, basically. So there's the whole idea is you see a lot of negative news. There'll be like news stories about, most recently I just saw one about my home state in West Virginia, a man raped a baby. To me, that's not even news. That's just a horrible story, and that's all you can see on the news. And so my idea with Super Awesome is to cover good stories and let the world see that they exist. They just don't get highly publicized because, for whatever reason, people think it won't get ratings. Yeah, so that's really the idea behind it, is to just travel state to state, find awesome people, and share their stories.
Yeah. Now, speaking of one of these awesome people, I saw the latest episode of Super Awesome. It's about Ann Mathis and the story about her late husband, the Bicycle Man. Does it ever get too difficult for your subjects to recall certain events, like emotionally speaking?
Sometimes it does, and that's the good thing about Super Awesome, I guess. It's really emotional, raw stories that generally hit home and move people. So at the same time that they're motivational and uplifting, they're also emotional and relatable. The story with Anne, there was many times, because she was talking about her deceased husband and living on his legacy. There's many times she got choked up and kind of had a hard time telling the story. But the one time that really stands out is when I interviewed Herschel Woody Williams. He's the last living survivor of the Battle of Iwo Jima that has a Medal of Honor. And he had some pretty gruesome stories to tell because it was a gruesome time. It was World War II, and he was a specialist with pyrotechnics and essentially setting people on fire. And when I first was going to meet him, I assumed he'd be some kind of hard-ass that was proud of what he did. I guess stereotypically in my mind, I pictured some old gristly war vet. But he was a really emotional, heartfelt guy. For the longest time, he battled with depression, I later found out, until he found God and found a way to cope with the things he had done and the things he had seen. And there's one story in particular about one of his best friends in the war, and they agreed to exchange rings if one of them ever lost their lives. And his friend, unfortunately, was hit in the head with a missile and died a brutal death, and right beside him, so he saw it happen. And before they could take his body away off the battlefield, he stuck to his pact, and he took the ring off of his finger, and he eventually found its way back to his family. And by the time he was done telling that story, he was just done naturally, and he couldn't tell me anything else about the war. I told him, you know, if you don't want to elaborate any further, you don't have to, and he just shook his head no, and he was just absolutely done. So he had some awesome stories to tell. He's going around now making memorials for families that have lost a loved one in the war. It's his own thing, and it's spreading all over the U.S. So he's an awesome guy, but he definitely had a hard time kind of telling me his whole story.
Yeah, that actually does sound like very sad and emotional. I haven't seen that one. I may watch it after this. Now, I think we talked about this before, there are a few ways to make money on YouTube. Do you hope to do so at some point? Or is this just is this completely non-profit to you?
Well, I don't anticipate to ever make money, so in my mind, it's non-profit, and it's also something I never want to quit doing. I often have people ask me why I'm doing it because I don't make money, and to me, that's a dumb question. I do it because I love to do it, and because every time I am driving home after interviewing these people, I just feel like I can't even talk because they're so awesome, these people that I get to meet. Like Woody Williams, the Medal of Honor recipient. People like him, I can't even believe they let me in their house. And they do. Obviously, if I could make money, I would not turn it down. It'd be awesome. I'm never going to do the YouTube ad thing because I don't want a bunch of ads in my video and you make pennies. It's just, to me, not worth it for the annoyance that the viewer would receive. If I ever get sponsors that want me to promote their product and they'll pay me to do so, I would do that. That'd probably be the revenue source there, would be wearing t-shirts and stuff like that and getting paid to do it. Essentially selling out, I guess. But yeah. I would do it if it was the right company and you know, if it was offered to me, but I don't anticipate it.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for doing that. There are other ways that a lot of YouTubers make money. Like there is an example known as a Patreon, where it's literally a site made for creators of anything, creators of art, creators of writing, creators of videos, to just for like viewers to just donate if they feel like.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
We're selling products. Maybe one day, if it gets big enough, I could sell t-shirts or something. But again, nothing I anticipate, but I think anyone would accept money if they had the opportunity to.
Alright, now what do you do you currently have anything new planned for the channel, like within the next few months?
Well, I'm always thinking ahead with episodes, so I contact people ahead of time, send them the questions. So I've got a few episodes cooking up. I want to head to New York, hit up states that I haven't hit up yet, essentially. I'm also working on, in order to get more content out, because it takes me a few months to make each episode, because I got to do it in between work. I want to start making mini episodes, where the episodes are already only about 5 minutes long, but I want to do maybe 30-second episodes where I just tell a really quick, awesome story. No interview or anything like that. It's just more, some of my videos have cartoons and things like that. It'll be purely that, telling a really quick 30-second story. The first one ever that I'm going to do it's just going to be called Super Awesome Minis, is a story about a fella who saved somebody from a shark attack. The shark had actually bit a guy's leg off, and this guy swam out in the water and took an oar and smacked the shark right in the face. The shark swam away, and he swam the guy back to shore and got him. The man has no leg now, but he saved his life. So awesome stuff like that.
I will be looking forward to that. Now, I want to ask you about your current occupation, working for Hot Topic. How did you initially come to work for Hot Topic?
Well, I just kind of bounced between different management and retail jobs after I got out of college. My degree was in broadcasting. I couldn't find any full-time work. Again, West Virginia jobs aren't very prevalent. So I was working part-time at a news station, part-time at a Rite Aid, and I was sleeping sometimes 0 hours per night, sometimes 2 hours per night, because I would work 5 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Rite Aid, and then I would work 4:45 p.m. till midnight or later at the news station. So eventually I decided I couldn't do it anymore, and they kept offering me a management job at Abercrombie & Fitch, which is where I just had a part-time college job. And so I was like, well, they're just offering me money, I might as well take it. Had no idea where I was going to go with it. But it turned out I was pretty good at it, and I got promoted to store manager within 11 months. And after 4 years with Abercrombie, I was offered a job at PacSun, which I just thought would be cooler. I liked the brand better, so I was like, might as well take it. It turned out it was horrible. Their company is struggling, and I would work like 100-hour weeks on salary, so I wouldn't get paid for it. It was horrible. So then I was offered a job with Hot Topic through district manager recruiting, and I just figured I'll take it. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I knew it would be better than PacSun, and I just really like it. Hot Topic's a cool company. You can wear whatever you want. You can look like whatever you want. You can just be yourself. And in retail, they usually make you act weird and just be different to suit their needs. But Hot Topic just kind of lets you be yourself. So I can just focus on selling stuff and being a manager and not any dumb stuff. So that's how I got with Hot Topic. It's been almost 5 years now, so I like it.
Now you seem very knowledgeable in the music genres that we sell at this store. At least more knowledgeable than I could hope to be. Did that help you at all while working for this company?
Yeah. First of all, it helped me get the job because they like to find managers that know stuff about the brand. I grew up with brothers in bands, and I just grew up with music, so I love music, and I knew about almost every band they sold here already ahead of time, and so that just helped me talk to the district manager and let him know that I knew stuff about Hot Topic, so I could sell relevant items. And it makes it easier for customers and everything, obviously. Start up conversation about a band. Everyone has their strengths, though. You've got your strengths with wrestling and video games, and so that's why Hot Topic's cool. It's really diverse.
So now I want to ask you about like you actually getting transferred from West Virginia to here. How difficult was it for you and your wife to like have to move up here? Like just like was it sudden? Like, did it kind of come out of nowhere, or just how hard was it in general?
It was extremely sudden. I was told initially they might be talking about moving me to Pittsburgh, which is kind of close to West Virginia. It would have been about a 4-hour difference, and it borders the state, so kind of close. And then, so I pretty much mentally prepared my wife. We might be moving to Pittsburgh. Last minute, they tell me, we changed our mind. There's a store that's struggling in New Jersey. We want you there. And I was like, okay. And then they told me, you've got 30 days. And I was like, okay. I'm down. I stay calm. I'm down for pretty much anything. And it was a promotion, and to me it seemed fun, to branch out, because I'm adventurous, I suppose. My wife is not, and she's never been away from home. She's born and raised West Virginia. So it was difficult to get her to accept the idea, and we had to accept it really quick. Luckily she loves me, and she just came with me. She likes it now, so it's worked out, and I think it's helped us grow as a couple to get away from our comfort zone. But it was tough. It was expensive. This entire state is one of the most expensive states in the entire United States, and West Virginia is one of the cheapest and poorest, so that was a struggle. The people are different, just everything's different, and we had to pack up everything we had and move, including my cat. So it was a struggle, but we made it. We're happy with it.
Now, speaking of transferring, you're actually leaving for a new Deptford store pretty soon. Now, real quick, remind me what the name of the store is that you're going to be going to next.
The name of the store is Box Lunch. It's owned by Hot Topic. The idea is basically for every $10 you spend, we donate a meal to Feeding America, and it's always the local Feeding America, so this one will be partnered with Philadelphia's Feeding America. And it's a lot of the exact same items, but it's a more mature look and feel to try to get an older age bracket to come buy it. That's pretty much the whole idea. So people will be buying the exact same stuff, but not even really know it. So when you put it that way, it sounds kind of bad, I guess. But it's pretty genius because people are intimidated to come into Hot Topic because their kids shop there or because they used to shop there when they were a kid, and they don't know how much the company has evolved and the stuff we sell, and they don't even want to look at it.
Right.
So this way, it's something new, it's something fresh, and with the donations to Feeding America, it brings people in. They take the time to look at what we sell, and then they're buying it. And it's doing extremely well, so they're jumping from 20 to 50 stores a lot quicker than they anticipated, and that's how I got this position.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, what the purpose of the of this box lunch store is. You answered it already, so instead, let me skip over to this question here. So you're only going to Deptford, you're not going very far, and it's not like I won't see you again. So now, could you even compare moving, being transferred from this store to just to Deptford?
I mean, it's totally different. I guess it's a lot more positive, you know. When I told my wife this, it didn't shatter her world or anything like that. It's a pay raise, it's a new opportunity for me, and it's a lot closer, so I actually won't even have to move. It's going to be a further drive, but there's no way I'm going to pack up and move or anything like that. So there's not a whole lot of comparisons because it's just a totally different feel. It's pure luck. If this store had been in North Jersey, they would have made me try to go there. So it's pure luck that it just opened in Deptford. They think it'll be just a profitable location. So it just worked out a lot better. It's been a lot better situation for me.
Yeah. I mean, you to get to here, you had to move away from home essentially. Like here, you're not even moving. Like you just said, you're not even moving. You're just going to another store that just happens to be a little bit farther away.
Yep. So a lot better situation. Just a little bit of inconvenience with having to drive further, but compared to what I had to do to move here, it's nothing at all.
So is there anything else you'd like to say about your job and the people you've worked with?
Well, it's just been a good experience. Everyone I meet, we get really close. It was tough to leave my staff in Charleston, West Virginia. And now, like you said, it's not like we're not going to see each other. I'm going to be like 10 miles further away. But it's tough, you know, to leave behind the staff. We just lost our assistant manager here, Jasmine. She just moved, and that was tough. So I guess one thing that's awesome about Hot Topic is how much you can be yourself, and that makes you and your staff grow. And you just grow close with everybody. At some of my other companies that I work for, you just didn't form that bond because you're all there just to work, and you have to dress a certain way and act a certain way, so you're almost fake. But we're all just kind of real here, so yeah. So it's tough, tough to leave, but it's cool to meet everybody that I meet.
All right, and just a wrap-up question here. Anything else you'd like to add about anything that we've talked about?
Go watch all my videos. Whoever listens to this, go watch them. It's youtube.com/all1 productions. I think one question that was on here that you decided not to ask, but it's how I got the name All1 Productions.
Oh, yeah.
But the idea is that it's cool. It's not that important, but I'll just leave it at this, that I came up with the idea of All1. It's kind of corny, I guess, but it's just that, you know, the whole spirit of all the videos that we make are just it's all about togetherness and inspiration, and so everything you find on there, you'll probably learn stuff, and you'll just feel inspired and motivated, and I don't know, it's just fun to make them. So I hope people have fun watching them.
And I'll be sure to spread the word on your channel, help it grow. Well, Evan, thanks for sitting down with me today and letting me ask you these questions. And yeah, good luck at box lunch pretty soon.
Thanks for having me.
And that was the interview that I did with my former store manager a few months ago, actually back in September. And I actually had a lot of fun conducting it. There was a lot more that needed to be said, like the minimum required length for that interview was like 15 minutes. We ended up going 28 minutes, like I said. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. And like I said in the intro, for some reason, until next time, this is it for now. Bye bye.